So, elections matter a lot. Why do elections matter so much? I'm going to give you an example in terms of education that's been playing out right now. So you've noticed probably, if you've been reading the paper, if you've been listening to the news, that education funding is the top priority for the legislature this session, and they're working really hard on changing the funding formula. Whether that happens or not, we'll see. We got about a month left in the legislative session, so there's still a lot of work to be done, but it is definitely a priority. Now, it wasn't a priority in past legislative sessions. In 2019, this legislative session is a priority. In 2017, it wasn't really a priority. In 2015, it wasn't a priority. In 2013, 2011, it definitely wasn't a priority because there was a lot of detrimental funding cuts at that point. So, why did things change in 2019? Well, one of the reasons things changed in 2019 is a lot of voters made it a priority to state that they wanted members of the legislature to do something about education funding. And they made it clear to members of the legislature on the campaign trail. They've made it clear to school board members also. But the legislature is the group that controls the funding formula. And so they said, hey, enough is enough. We need to properly fund schools. We need a fair funding formula that doesn't harmfully impact some schools and overly benefit others. So we need something that's fair and equitable. And there's more and more students that have come into Texas continuously, and we need to be able to educate everybody. So that became a priority. And since it became a priority, the legislature took that up. Now you can also see there's certain other things that the legislature had worked on in previous sessions that you don't see in this session. So for example, vouchers. You haven't had a real discussion about vouchers. Now in the past they've been defeated, but they have always come up. And vouchers always came up because there was an outside chance of passing those things, and there were even proposals for other things that were really vouchers but were named something else, so they could kind of get that past everybody. And you didn't even see that, really haven't seen that take any root in this legislative session. And the reason you haven't seen it take root is that the voters said, no, we don't want that. So that's really important to know. So I want to thank everybody out there who said, hey, education is a priority. We're going to vote for members of the legislature who care about education. And that's true for any type of election, local school board elections, city elections, presidential elections, congressional elections. What the voters say is important to them is what the members of that elected body will work on. And what the voters say is not important to them, the members of the elected body won't necessarily work on those types of things. So keep that in mind. Elections are important. That's an example of why elections are important, and how that's played out just this year in this 2019 legislative session. Again, we're still waiting to see what happens. Is there meaningful property tax changes that help lower school property taxes? The legislature controls a lot of that because they control the education funding formula. And one of the things they've been doing in the past is they've been reducing the amount of money the state puts in for education because appraisal has been going up. So appraisals have gone up, school property taxes have gone up, but they've reduced the amount of money that's available to the school districts from the state funds, and so we rely more on property taxes than we need to for funding schools. So will the legislature do something about that? I'll talk to you soon, and thanks for listening. If you got any questions, just feel free to reach out to me at any time, and have a great day. Bye-bye.